So this is some garbage. And whoever's delivering this false doctrine is garbage too. Boy, them Israelites got you so tight. You done went and created a whole false lesson. So this fool, Kevin Benton Jr., along with Alfredo Eat Too Much Valentin, is going to come together, and they're teaching a private. Oh, it's private. They don't want to put the video out because they already know that their doctrines are false. They already know that they're false. They ain't nothing but dumb Christians, unlearned in the scriptures. And when I talk about the ones that's gonna gag, it's gonna be men like this. Men like Kevin and Alfredo, they're going to gag on Judgment Day. They're gonna gag. Not only are you an unlearned Christian, but then you went forth to spread false doctrine, leading people astray. Their blood is on your hands. They're going to gag in judgment. Because you so mad at these Israelites that it got you all puffed up in your pride and caused you to go create a whole BS lesson. I don't even got to know their lesson. You want to know how I know it's BS? Because the stuff that many of the Israelite people teach about Christians, we get it from historical sources. So what other historical sources are you going to use to disprove the historical sources that have already came out? There are none. Y'all about to get bamboozled out of your little $50. That's why they're going to make this. That's why they're making it private. In this class, we will provide a plethora. I doubt it. They're going to provide the same. They're going to provide the same information. They're going to provide the same information, just trying to sway it a different way. Because that's what these Christians do. They were taught that by their seminary theologians. But they're going to provide a plethora of sources that prove the original Christian origins of Christmas. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully y'all gonna make it public after y'all make all your little money, so we can cross-examine it and prove you wrong. See, dudes like this are what I call Sambo type niggas. Even if the Most High came down here and proved, like I said, 1 + 1 = 2, they're not going to believe it. Just because they didn't bring it out. They not the ones bringing it out. I know this type of person. And I'm going to play a video and I'm going to show you this type of person, his spirit. We'll also discuss the alleged associations with the holiday, such as Saturnalia, and so it ain't no alleged. That's where it originated from. But see, these brothers like this get so mad at the Israelites and they get their asses whooped in the scriptures. I know, I went through this. I've been through it many times. These Christian brothers like this, these is the ones that be having the pride. Can't tell them nothing. Because they want to be like the ones that came before them. See, they just want blind admiration. They just want you to be able to follow what they say and everything. Don't do any research. I know this type. That's why they doing a private workshop. You know, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, kind of cultish. That's what these two, especially this one on the right, brother, you need to be holding a workshop on getting you a can of Slim Fast and how to drink it and how to lose some weight. I could tell all by that turkey neck that you got under there. Instead of doing this, you need to be doing some push-ups. You need to be getting your health in order. That's what you need to be doing. But see, they want to keep this stuff going because see, this big boy on the right here, he want to be able to continue eating his pork. That's what he want. He don't want to change his dietary habits. He think that you could just do anything, and live any type of way, and you just gonna make it in. No, that's not it. That's not how that go. So they're gonna talk about Horus, Mithras. Definitely gonna talk about Mithras because that's who you Christians belong to. You can't deny decrees that are literally in history, bruh. But that's what these idiots do. Satan has his claws so deep in them that they can't part ways with these two. They're gonna tell you that Sunday worship is a thing now, and it's not. But men like this are gonna gag on Judgment Day. Men like this are gonna gag. You came up with all these seminary, then when it come down to it, they're gonna throw their seminary theologian teachers under the bus. Well, we was told this. Well, no, remember when them Israelites came to you and was trying to tell, and you wanted to war with them. You ain't even want to hear what they had to say. Oh, but you was all ears to the white man, though. Oh, you was all ears to that. So, they're gonna gag. This dude is a fool. Let's look at this video. People lack good luck, right? Hilarious, con artists, because that's what they are. One thing about this, my brother, they will not share it publicly so we can cross-examine it. It will be a private study that they are changing one thing. It will be a private study that they are charging one thing about us, Hebrew Israelites. We share our studies regardless if you agree or not. That's true. That's true. He's a member of a Christian group here on Facebook. Of course he is. I lit him up so bad regarding his false biblical narratives that he blocked me from the group. Exactly. Because that's what they do. I tell you, these Christians are out of control and will fight for their one-way ticket into hell with gasoline draws on. Alfredo kicked me out of his group. In fact, they have kicked me out of many groups. Exactly. Because they don't want to hear the truth. But these is the people that's going to gag on Judgment Day. They going to gag. Like, nah. And we don't want your funky asses in here either. Because, see, you can't be taught nothing. You like a dog that can't be trained. Because you don't want to give up. You don't want to give up your man-made traditions. You don't serve God for real. Ain't nothing real. I could look in their eyes and tell ain't nothing real about them. Phony ass Christians. That's exactly what they are. Phony Christians. Sunday worshiping, eating pork, unhealthy, but want to be exalted. That's what this is all about with these men like this. They want to be exalted. And when somebody come in and bust their little bubble, then they get mad. Because then you find out they don't know the scriptures. Which is they don't. He don't.
They'll just hit.
Let's go back. Let's see what the loser got to say.
Christ. Hold on. I want to get in on this one. So, I'm an Israelite. So, of course, I don't understand that Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath and that our rest is not now found in the day.
Let's see what the loser got to say.
Christ. Hold on. I want to get in on this one. So I'm an Israelite. So of course, I don't understand that Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath and that our rest is not now found in the day.
See, they get the. So, of course, I don't understand that Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. I don't understand that Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. Man, shut your face. I don't know. I can feel the spirit. Look, they don't understand that Jesus is Lord of the Sabbath. Listen, idiot. Christ is Lord of the Sabbath. He is. But that doesn't mean that the day was changed. Loser. That's what that means. Yes, he's Lord of the Sabbath. Oh, that means you're a loser. He's Lord of the Sabbath. Yes. But that does not mean that the day was changed from the original Saturday to Sunday. You're an idiot. What's next?
Of the week, but it's found in the person and work of Jesus Christ. And of course, I've never read Colossians 2:16 and 17, where it says to let no man judge you in respect to any holy day or Sabbath day, because these are a shadow of things to come, but the substance is Christ. But of course, I don't understand.
Shut the hell up. So, you want to bring up Colossians 2:16, dummy. Colossians 2:16, that was about what the Most High had already established. See, you're one of them dumb Christians that think that because Christ came to the earth, oh, all that was done away with, and now everything is changed, and we on this now. Oh, I can eat that pork because if I just say Jesus Welch, then it covers it. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm telling y'all, everybody that took this class, you're being bamboozled. It's nice if you want to support your family or whatever, but you're being bamboozled. If you're taking this class and really thinking you're about to gain something out of this, you're being bamboozled. This man is a con artist. I can look at him and tell. I can see it all in his eyes. And the big boy, like I said, the only workshop you need to be doing is the workshop on losing some weight. Getting your arteries declogged. Because you look like you about 2 pulled pork sandwich away from a heart attack.
Any of that because I'm an Israelite.
Well, actually, Israelites understand more than what you will ever know. See, what I know in my pinky finger is more than you will ever know. You're the one that's in pride. You're the one that can't take. That's why you done went out and you done created a whole lesson. You done went out and created a whole lesson of blasphemy. And you're going to get up in Judgment Day and you're going to gag. Christ was not born in December. He was born in September, the last week, during the Feast of Tabernacles. Y'all gonna gag. Christian dudes like that fool that was on my screen, this one, gonna gag. Gonna gag. I'm telling you. They gonna get their faces cracked. Let me go. I actually I actually talk about this in one of my videos where these people like this little fake ass potato head looking motherfucker, where these people, they use this verse, but the Most High was not talking about man-made traditions. Thanksgiving, that's a man-made tradition. Ishtar, that's a man-made tradition. Xmas, that's a man-made tradition. It's a lie. Christ was not born in December. He was born in September during the Feast of Tabernacles. That's the last week. So actually, is this scripture is for us, the people who celebrate the feast and the holy days, for when y'all, people like you, try to come forward and say, oh, well, y'all, y'all shouldn't be doing that. We ain't under that. No. This is for what the Most High already established. Loser. Hey, it's me, Savage. What's going on? Well, what's going on is my next topic. And my next topic is about Christmas, which I call Xmas or Saturnalia. And first, I want to start off by talking about my experiences with Christmas. When I was a young kid, I always had a good Christmas, or would appear to be a good Christmas. My mom always made sure that I had gifts. We did the whole tree thing. I remember we didn't get plastic trees. Yeah, so even if I celebrated Christmas now, I don't play that plastic tree stuff. The pink trees, the blue trees. How dare you? That is so cheap. If you're gonna be pagan, at least go all out. When I was young, no. We ain't play that fake tree stuff. We got a new tree every year. I even remember the brand of tree we got. It was a Douglas fir. And the Douglas fir is like the pine trees, but the needles aren't like pointy. You ever know those shrubs? Those one, it's a certain kind of shrub, and it don't have like the pointy needles, and you have to trim it. It's not the one with the leaves, but it's the one with the little spiny needles on them that branch out, but they not pointy. They don't hurt. And so we would get trees like that. I remember going to Hills. Hills was like Kmart. We had Kmart too. We had Value City, and all of that. And so I remember going all out, decorating my room, the tree, the ornaments. I remember I used to make ornaments at school. So yeah, I did Christmas. Had the whole train, got a big train too. I remember getting a big train, like, and track was long. Like, so I remember, getting stuff like that. Got my first PlayStation at Christmas time. So I had, a good Christmas. Uh, Thankful that I did, have two parents. Well, my mom made sure, because my dad was stingy. My dad was stingy. He didn't like to spend money on his kids, even though my dad made money. Like, he did not like to spend money on his kids, but he was the type where he was stingy. Like, my mom, she would tell me all the time how she would have to borrow from my grandma, or like she would even have to get credit cards, to buy us gifts and stuff like that. And because he didn't want to spend no money. That's how cheap my dad was. But he had money. Like my dad was no slouch. He had money. He just didn't like to spend it on his family. And so, um, but yeah, I definitely remember going out with my parents, picking up a Christmas tree, you know, um, decorating it, putting gifts under the Christmas tree. I was the type where I would open up all my gifts early. I would always sneak peek. That's why they wouldn't put the gifts out like over the years as I had got older. They wouldn't put the gifts out, um, before time. They would put them out like the morning of, because I was the type of kid where I would go through, I would tear open like the gift to see like if I had a video game. Remember when PlayStation, the PlayStation 1 came in those like CDs, like the CD cases or whatever. Now they come in them long, them longer rectangular cases. But back in the day, they used to come in them CD. So I would peel the gift wrap, and then I was so slick. I would tape it back together, like you wouldn't even be able to know that I had opened it. So I would know everything that I had got. Oh my God. I would know everything that I had got before I had even got it. Like, because I had already peeped, what I was gonna get. And then, except for I didn't know what my granny would have got me, or, other. So, and I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest out of my brothers and sisters. So, my oldest brothers and sisters is like a 7 to 8 year gap between us. So, and my sister that's right above me, it's a 3 year gap, but she never like lived with us or anything like that. So, she probably had better Christmases than I did. Um, I was just thinking about that today, like, cause I seen somebody, um, oh, sorry, I touched my face. I do not want to be in the Illuminati. But I would see her, and she would always have be Tommy down. Like, and now I see all these people, they be wearing Tommy Hilfiger. I guess it's coming back in style. I'm seeing people with Tommy Hilfiger jackets and, Tommy Hilfiger clothes and jeans and shirts and stuff like that. I'm just like, dang, we going right back to the 90s. But yeah, man. So I know what it's like, to have that Christmas experience. But when you become an adult, you learn, and when you know better, you do better. So, oh, and that's another thing. Like, so I never been into the whole Santa Claus thing, because growing up, my dad made sure, like, to let us know, um, that he was Santa Claus. Yeah, like my dad wasn't no wasn't no Santa Claus uh coming up. He made sure to let us know that he is Santa Claus. So, um, yeah. So where am I at? Okay. So I think I posted this originally in 2019, December 25th, 2019. Okay. And so the start of the lesson is how Satan infiltrated Christianity with Xmas, aka Saturnalia, by Yakana Fitz Savage II. So yeah, like I said, I have fond memories, Christmas, good times, and well, no fake tree. And trees was expensive even back then, like, cause I remember like hearing my parents talk about paying anywhere from uh 75 to 100 and some dollars for a tree. Like, so yeah, I get it. You know, when people um do the whole plastic tree thing, but no. And um I've never, ever, ever had the luxury of setting up a Christmas tree in my apartment. And I just moved. So I've been in my last place for about 8 or 9 years, and not once have I ever set up a Christmas tree. Not once. Even when I had my own place in Ohio, never set up a Christmas tree. And this was before the truth, you know. So before I knew um, about Christmas, I always been a loner. So it's like, why put up a tree? Like, you know, I'm not buying nobody no gifts, and you know, ain't nobody buying me no gifts. So there's no need to waste money on getting a tree and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that is just what I pretty much I think about the whole spirit. And you know, it's like, what spirit are you led by? You know. But anyway, how Satan infiltrated Christianity with Xmas, aka Saturnalia, by Yakana Fitz Savage II. And Yakana is Hebrew for John. Um, you see the date, December 25th, 2019. Ho, ho, ho. Mary Saturnalia. When you claim to be a believer of Christ, but you follow other gods, you are committing spiritual fornication. Hence me saying, ho, ho, ho. What if you were shown that what you believe to be Xmas in your mind is not what Xmas is in reality? What if I can prove to you that Xmas was surreptitiously subjoined to Christianity with the delusive intent to have those that follow Christianity inadvertently worship Satan? What if it was shown to you that you have been systematically induced into partaking yearly in this satanic ritual called Xmas? Would you consider that you are responsible for empowering demon forces whether you know it or not? It might sound crazy, but remember, nothing is as it seems to be. The problem with my people is everything is a joke. We ask no questions. We just go with the flow and have been programmed into the matrix. Lately, we have been so focused on the removal of one group of people that we forget, even though our sin is not the same, participating in paganism lands us all in the same boat. Some will wake up and be deprogrammed. Some will wake up still being half asleep, and most will stay asleep, never waking up to the truth around them. Sad. Why do you bring a tree into your home on December 25th? What does it signify? What does it mean? When it boils down to knowing why people celebrate a lie, many really don't know the origin or the reason why they celebrate a lie. Most give that classic excuse, I don't want my kids to feel left out. Are you the parents or are they? Does the child run the household or does the parent run the household? Now, people will get mad at me for saying this, but the truth is the truth. For instance, if your child has some favorite activity they like to do, most parents won't allow the child to do that activity until homework or chores are done. Most parents. I know there has been a time when the child wants to do their favorite activity before homework or chores is done, and the parent says no, and the child has a tantrum or catches an attitude. When that happens, why don't you give in then and let them do their favorite activity. Where is the same feeling that you have during Xmas with the whole, I don't want to take happiness away from my kids? Just keeping it real, as kids, we all played games like hide and go get it or some inappropriate game that if our parents found out we were playing, they would beat our butts. Some things we did as kids is not good for our kids. I don't agree that a child under 18 should be able to change their gender. All I'm trying to say is chill with all the cowardly excuses. Don't put it on your kids. It's you. That's okay though. I am not here to change you, just here to warn you how you are sacrificing your child to Moloch. I don't have any kids. I don't go around kids. I have no reason to. I am not even close with my nieces or nephews by choice because I was not going to be accused of influencing anyone's child to be gay. I talk about this in the last chapter of my book. Anyway, just because people are very ignorant of the truth about Xmas does not take away from its validity of the origins of Xmas being a satanic ritual. If you claim to love the Most High, you should be even more shamed because the Most High does not support the lie of Xmas. How do you really think the Most High feels about people who claim to love Him, yet they do no research and quick to believe a lie that was placed on His Son? How do people normally act if someone lies on their child? I have seen the kids of some of you Keishas and Boom Squeeshas. You get upset at your child being corrected, even when you know your child is wrong. The proof is how these teachers, the proof is how these teachers in these schools are treated. America alone spends billions on gifts, enough to end world hunger. We could solve our own homeless problem, but even then, many of them truly don't want help. The holiday magic is people rushing to go broke, buying gifts, but then asking the church to pay their light bill. Then getting mad at the church when the church says no, as they should. Now is blank them church people at that raggedy blank church. Now they have to send up prayers for the God of Israel to bless them with more money when they couldn't manage what they had in the first place. Keep this in mind. A decade ago, people would look at you like you are crazy if you were to say, my child will not be vaccinated. But now, since people, parents, are researching and finding out the vaccines are causing the health problems such as ADHD and many other diseases, more and more parents are resisting vaccines and prenatal pills. I am simply saying it is the same way with these pagan holidays, but on the spiritual side. I know we have been taught Xmas was about Christ, but if you research, you will find the Bible does not support Xmas, and in all actuality, the Bible condemns Xmas. If you are looking for a sugar-coated Xmas message, leave now. And by the way, I seen on Facebook, it was some brothers here um, that are doing a private workshop, and they're trying to prove that Christmas is biblical. They're trying to prove that like stuff that I'm about to tell you about does not relate to Christmas and all of this. And I seen it. I'm gonna try to find the advertisement because they ain't coming out with this message and just for everybody. No, they trying to make money. Oh, it's a private thing because they want to make money. These demons have their talons, and these two brothers so strong that they are creating false doctrines, trying to prove like stuff like Saturnalia has nothing to do with Christmas when it does. It's even documented in history. So I'm not paying no money to take a workshop about Christmas when History proves that Christmas was once illegal to even celebrate. The early people that came to this country, the white folk, they wouldn't even celebrate Christmas. Okay? And that Christmas is actually was made popular like, later on. It had nothing to do with Christ. The stores, like I believe Macy's and Coca-Cola and stuff like that, they made Santa Claus famous. So, you know, like I said, these two brothers, they delusional. Delusional. People are just, because once again, it's Christians, unlearned Christians, trying to hold on to a lie, and they're going to stand in judgment, and their mouths are going to drop when they find out that instead of trying to hold on to Christmas, they should have been running to celebrate Purim, because they are the children of Israel. I'm talking about the two brothers. And they should be keeping these feasts and holy days. But see, they probably the type where they'll tell you that the feast and holy days was done away with, because they're trying to hold on to these pagan holidays. So that's the type of spirit that you deal with when you're dealing with these Christians, because it's so deep in them, just like Sunday worship, that they can't let it go. They come up with all these excuses, even blaming it on their kids. So if you are looking for a sugar-coated Xmas message, leave now, because I am here to provide you with facts so you can make a conscious decision on whether you want to follow the Most High or Satan. I don't have a problem with people celebrating Xmas. I do have a problem when people try to infuse the Bible or Christ into their paganism and then have the audacity to blame their kids. That is cowardly. Xmas is not mentioned in the Bible. The Bible condemns Xmas trees, and Christ was not born in December. Don't use Christ as an excuse to continue in sin. Most don't even know the origins of Saturnalia, aka Xmas. It's been going on before Christ came in the flesh in 4 BC. At least learn what you are partaking in. To not research is stupidity, and I didn't know won't work in judgment. Think about this. What will you say in judgment if all I am saying is true? You watch videos, seen proof and evidence that proves Xmas has nothing to do with Christ. It is satanic. And after you learned all these things, you continued in sin and then blamed your kids who are innocent until they grow up and become aware and have the same opportunity you did, which was to choose the Most High or Satan. What you gonna do then? We can learn and know, but many are too lazy, which is why many of my people perish because of the lack of knowledge. But yet people know nothing about the holy days already established. You can't serve two masters. Like I said, I don't have a problem with people celebrating Xmas, but I do have a problem when people try to infuse the Bible or Christ into their paganism. That's how I know who actually reads the Bible and who doesn't. If you believe in the Bible, Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 5, King James Version, is a part of that. You can't pick and choose what you will accept. It's either all or nothing. Don't get spewed out. Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 6, King James Version. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold. Deck the halls of filing. La 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 la. They fasten it with nails and with hammers. that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. People miss that last part. Neither also is it in them to do good. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. And so, yeah, you see this here. For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest. So, before all these plastic trees came about, where did people get their Christmas trees from? And what did they use? They used the axe, right? And the main colors that you deck whatever with is silver and gold. So, and you have the little screws. Oh, I'm gonna show it later. I'm gonna show it, but people like to play dumb when I bring this scripture out. They like to get workable Alzheimer's, but here it is. The origin of December 25th, The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 85, chapter 3, Festivals, section 1, Christmas and Lady Day. The festivals of Rome are innumerable, but 5 of the most important may be singled out for elucidation, viz., Christmas Day, Lady Day, Easter, the Nativity of St. John, and the Feast of the Assumption. Each and all of these can be proved to be Babylonian. And first, as to the festival in honor of the birth of Christ, or Christmas, how comes it that the festival was connected with the 25th of December? There is not a word in the scriptures about the precise day of his birth or the time of year when he was born. What is recorded there implies that at what time soever his birth took place, it could not have been on the 25th of December. December 25th stems all the way back to the beginning of civilization in ancient Babylon, dealing with what is known as the winter solstice. According to mythology, the winter solstice is the day when the sun begins to regain its dominion and begins to conquer the night. During the winter solstice period, nighttime is at its longest extent throughout the whole year. Daytime during this period is shown for the shortest amount in time throughout the whole year. In a sense, there is this mythological type of battle going on between the sun and nighttime. So once exceeded, the winter solstice was a gradual increase of the sun going from its lowest point all the way up into the summer solstice into its highest point. The pagans back then took that as a sign that the sun was beginning to regain dominance over the night. They began to make deities out of it. Remember when he said, don't be dismayed at the signs in heaven? And that also kills, all that astrology crap I love astrology. Don't get me wrong. I love astrology. I love astronomy. I love it. I'm into spirituality, but at the end of the day, it does not matter, about the Bible being, a book of astrology and stuff like that. Like, it's a simple message, man. We are the Negroes, Natives, and Latinos. We've gone off course. We need to get back on course. This is what we need to do, you know. And that's it. Yes, you could take this and go further with it, but you got to grasp the base first. And many don't even grasp the base. So, yeah, they made deities out of that. For instance, you have the Egyptian god Horus, who was born on the winter solstice of December 25th, along with the Greek god Helios, Roman god Apollo, Hindu god Mithra, whose followers were called Christians way before Christ came in the flesh. The name of the followers of Christ was Messianic, after the Messiah, and the demon of all demons, Baal, named after Nimrod. He probably was a Taurus. After Nimrod's death, he was deified by his mother, Semiramis, who claimed he became the sun god. I'm just playing. The scholars, as well as the elite, know December 25th has always been used as a pagan day to conjure or evoke spirits and demons. They infused this tradition into the Bible by placing Christ's name over the holiday to have people inadvertently conjuring up spirits on December 25th, which has nothing to do with Christ at all. Reading on from Two Babylons, page 85. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 85, chapter 3, Festivals, section 1. Christmas and Lady Day. At the time that the angel announced his birth to the shepherds of Bethlehem, they were feeding their flocks by night in the open fields. Now, no doubt, the climate of Palestine is not so severe as the climate of this country. But even there, though the heat of the day be considerable, the cold of the night from December to February is very piercing, and it was not the custom for the shepherds of Judea to watch their flocks in the open fields later than about the end of October. The Bible is stating there is no way shepherds are going to be outside in the dead of winter, grazing and herding their flocks in the blistering cold. The Bible does not substantiate a winter birth. Yes, Jerusalem is near desert, but keep in mind it gets cold in Arizona, Las Vegas, and yes, it has snowed before in these desert-like places. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 85, chapter 3, Festivals, section 1, Christmas and Lady Day. At the birth of Christ, every woman and child was going to be taxed at the city whereto they belonged, whither some had long journeys, but the middle of winter was not fitting for such a business, especially for women with child and children to travel in. Therefore, Christ could not be born in the depth of winter. Zondervan Bible Dictionary, page 108. Xmas, the anniversary of the birth of Christ, and its observance, celebrated by most Protestant and Roman Catholics on December 25th, by Eastern Orthodox churches on January 6th, and by the Armenian Church on January 19th. The first mentions of its observance on December 25th is in the time of Constantine, about 325 AD. The exact birthday of Christ is unknown. No one knows the day, but through research you can find the month and year. It's in the moon and stars, dealing with the eclipse of the moon. I was given the year of his crucifixion and the year he was baptized by John. The government, and if you want to know that information, you can view my video. One moment. This video right here. Facts we should know about Christ. This video. So I give you a bunch of information. The year Christ was baptized by John. Give you the month and year for John's birth. And so I know that Christ was born during the Feast of Tabernacles. And my guess on the day is probably the Sabbath day of that week. And so, because he is the Sabbath, he is the Lamb, so I believe he probably would have been born somewhere, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. So one of those 2 days, but it was during the Feast of Tabernacles. It's the last week in September. I found this years ago, man. Years ago. I've learned so much, coming into the truth. That's why I did this book, because I was learning so much, and it's just like, I know I'm going to forget some stuff, and I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget. So I started writing everything that I was learning, and lo and behold, it just turned into a book. So, but yeah, this video right here, facts we should know about Christ. You can definitely look at that. I give you the year he was crucified. I even give you the year he was crucified. So, I can't be an atheist. This is how invested I'm in. This is how invested I'm in it. So I can't be an atheist. Because you saying, oh, don't nobody know this, can't nobody know that, but if you do the research, he said if you seek after him, he will make himself known. And man, when I was really, really, really in it tough, like coming into this, like, man, I remember I would just I that's all I would listen to was, the truth, and trying to find out different information about him, not focusing on what he could do for me, but I wanted to learn more information about him, about Christ, who I call Yeshaya, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. But I wanted to learn about him. Not just what he could do for me, but I wanted to learn about him. And so I went on that journey, found out everything that I could know about him, and I put it in this video right here. I was given the year of his crucifixion and the year he was baptized by John. The government set up, create a flow of dollars and total damnation mistakes to lead you astray. They partnered with the corporations of America. Told you I've been talking about your bishop for a long time. It is all about the money. Even Constantine knew Christ was not born on December 25th. Everyone knows but you. Why? Because the elite wants you to keep conjuring up demons. Doesn't matter if you know or not, because you had the chance to learn. But like sheep, you followed the sheep in front of you into the slaughterhouse. Reading on from Two Babylons, page 86. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 86. Chapter 3, Festival, section 1. Christmas and Lady Day. How then did the Roman Church fix on December the 25th as Christmas Day? Why, thus, long before the 4th century and long before the Christian era itself, a festival was celebrated among the heathen at that precise time of the year in honor of the birth of the son of the Babylonian Queen of Heaven. The festival is originally named Saturnalia, a time when the heathen/pagan would walk around giving each other gifts, sing songs, eat pork, and have orgies. Yes, it was a freak fest, and you really think the Most High is cool with this? It started out with 2 days being celebrated, December 17th through the 19th. Over time, the festival was extended into a week. The Romans of antiquity were already celebrating Xmas before they knew anything about Christ. The difference is their version of Jesus was named Tammuz. They changed the name to Saturn, but it's still the same God, deified as the sun god, all relating back to Satan. If you know anything about history, then you know Rome produced all your pagan man-made religions you see today, including Baptist and Church of God in Christ. And my speaking in tongues lesson, I go in on Church of God in Christ, Pentecostal, Church of Garbage in Crisis, because that's what I call them. They're the biggest cult bigger than Jehovah's Witnesses, because Jehovah's Witnesses is a cult too, and it go down at them Jehovah's Witness conventions. Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses, they big luscious, big alcoholics over there. And Church of God in Christ, Church of Garbage in Crisis, and Pentecostal, they members, they get real freaky at those quartet conventions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get real freaky at them. And I know this because I have family members, I have cousins who are groupies for quartet groups. But yeah, so if you want to learn the history on Church of Garbage and Crisis and Pentecostal and Appalachia, ain't that's what it's called? Appalachia. Um, then yeah, uh watch my lesson about speaking in tongues. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 86, chapter 3, Festival, section 1, Christmas and Lady Day. Quote, and it may fairly be presumed that in order to conciliate the heathen and to swell the number of nominal adherents of Christianity, the same festival was adopted by the Roman Church, giving it only the name of Christ. This tendency on the part of Christians to meet paganism halfway was very early developed. During the time of pagan Emperor Constantine, Christianity had already been hijacked. Constantine had a diabolical plan to gain converts and have all people come together under Christianity. A lot of the pagans of Rome did not want to come under the guidelines, the law, of the Bible concerning Christ because it would mean they would have to give up their paganism. Constantine had a plan. He basically said, you know what? Don't worry about it. You like that Saturnalia? You don't have to give it up. You don't have to give that up. Instead, we will incorporate that together with Christianity and we will call it Christmas. That way, we can have the best of both worlds. You can worship the god of Saturn. We will just mask it over by putting Christ over it. When the pagans heard this decree, they were all aboard to accept Christianity at that point, if they could continue their pagan Saturnalia. The way Christmas is celebrated today, Macy parades and NYC, is the way Saturnalia was celebrated back in the early centuries before Christ even came in the flesh. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 86, 87, chapter 3, Festival, section 1, Christmas and Lady Day. Quote, and we find Tertullian, even in his day, about the year 230, bitterly lamenting the inconsistency of the disciples of Christ in this respect and contrasting it with the strict fidelity of the pagans to their own superstition. By us, says he, who are strangers to Sabbaths and new moons and festivals once acceptable to God, the Saturnalia, the feast of January, the Brumalia, and Matronalia are now frequented. Gifts are carried to and fro. New Year's Day presents New Year's Day presents are made with din, and sports and banquets are celebrated with uproar. Oh, how much more faithful are the heathen to their religion, who take special care to adopt no solemnity from the Christians. Upright men strive to stem the tide, but in spite of all their efforts, the apostasy went on, till the church, with the exception of a small remnant, was submerged under pagan superstition. That Christmas was originally a pagan festival is beyond all doubt. The time of the year and the ceremonies which it is still celebrated prove its origin. In Egypt, the son of Isis, the Egyptian title for the Queen of Heaven, was born at this very time, about the time of the winter solstice. The very name by which Christmas is popularly known among ourselves, Yule Day, proves at once its pagan and Babylonian origin. Yule is the Chaldee name for an infant or little child, and as the 25th of December was called by our pagan Anglo Saxon ancestors Yule Day or the Child's Day, and the night that preceded Mother Night, long before they came in contact with Christianity. That sufficiently proves its real character. The origin of lighting Christmas candles. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 89. Chapter 3, Festival, Section 1, Christmas and Lady Day. Quote, the candles in some parts of England, lighted on Christmas Eve and used so long as the festive seasons last, were equally lighted by the pagans on the eve of the festival of the Babylonian god, to do honor to him, for it was one of the distinguishing peculiarities of his worship to have lighted wax candles on his altars. End quote. When you gather together laughing, smiling, and lighting candles, it's just like when you put candles on your child's birthday cake to honor your child. You are honoring Nimrod, Baal, Satan. Have fun. The origin of the Christmas tree. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 89, chapter 3, Festival, section 1. Christmas and Lady Day. The Christmas tree, quote, the Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in pagan Rome and pagan Egypt. In Egypt, that tree was the palm tree. And in Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 6, it says they stand upright as the palm tree. In Egypt, that tree was the palm tree. In Rome, it was the fir. And I always say we would get Douglas firs. The palm tree denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar, the fir referring to him as Baal Berith, the mother of Adonis, the sun god and great mediatorial divinity, was mystically said to have been changed into a tree. End quote. It is sad that most Christians don't know that the Christmas tree is an idol that the Bible condemns in Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 6, King James Version. And the ones who do know don't care and are disobedient. That is okay. I have a saying, 2/3 will not make it due to their unwillingness to give up abominable foods, adultery, fornication, and paganism. Most will be church leaders. Sorry, I'm just saying. I mean, you see it happening. You see when I wrote this, and you see what's happening now, right? Okay. The ones who know everything and can't be told nothing, and their motherboard who follows man blindly. The ones who fail to embrace the communities around them. How can you want to be a minister and not one minister from the church shows up to its own annual Feed the Poor dinner? When it's time to go through the alleys and clean up the neighborhood, literally, where are the pastors and ministers? I am so glad I learned how to watch people's action rather than listen to what they say. When you understand anything about religious origin, you will know that these are all the same gods. They stem from the ancient Babylonian gods, the worship of Nimrod reincarnated. After he died, he became known as Baal, and then he became known as Beelzebub. Luke 11, verse 15, King James Version. The head chief or the highest ranking demon. I thought that was a tourist down in Atlanta, but when people have the Xmas tree in their home, they are worshiping Baal on a high level. Hence, the many fires in the homes due to lights being put on a dead, dried out tree. When you bend over or crouch to put gifts under the tree, you are bowing to the tree. You are bowing to an idol. I don't condone Xmas, but I will say this. When I was a young child, we always had a real tree, and it was usually a Douglas fir tree. Douglas. They are like pine trees, but the needles are not sharp. I will talk about people who had them cheap $5 plastic dollar store trees. What a waste. At least if you are going to do something, go all out and quit being cheap. But all in all, it's always my first recommendation to throw Christmas away altogether. The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, page 90, chapter 3, Festival, section 1, Christmas and Lady Day. Quote, the Christmas tree, as has been stated, was generally at Rome a different tree, even the fir. But the very same idea was implied in the palm tree, was implied in the Christmas fir, for that covertly symbolized the newborn God as Baal Berith, Lord of the Covenant, and thus shadowed forth the perpetuity and everlasting nature of his power. Not that after having fallen before his enemies, he had risen triumphant over them all. Baal Berith, which differs only in one letter from Baal Berith, Lord of the Covenant, signifies Lord of the fir tree. Therefore, the 25th of December, the day that was observed at Rome as the day when the victorious God reappeared on earth, was held at Natalis Invicti Solis, the birthday of the unconquered sun. Now the Yule log is the dead stock of Nimrod, deified as the sun god, but cut down by his enemies. The Christmas tree is Nimrod Redivivus, the slain god come to life again. All this stuff is just, child, please. The Yule log is the representation of Nimrod being chopped down, his death. Then you put the Yule log into the fireplace, in which most people don't do this part of the ritual anymore because most people don't have fireplaces. After the Yule log is burned on Christmas Eve, the next day, Christmas Day, represents the reincarnation of Nimrod, which is the Christmas tree. It's a whole ritual being done, and most have no clue why they partake in this satanic tradition. When people bend over to pick up gifts by the Christmas tree, they are bound to an idol. Do they think they can sit at Christ's feet and at Baal's feet at the same time? When they sit in front of the Christmas tree opening gifts, they are at Nimrod/Baal's feet. What does Rudolph and Santa Claus have to do with the birth of Christ? Santa is really Satan, and the definition of the word clause is a contract. So they need to ask themselves, what are you spiritually signing up for? This is a part of the strong delusion that is spoken of in the last days. Make sure you read this next verse carefully. And for this cause, God shall send them a strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2, verses 11 and 12, King James Version. In my conclusion, many think it's an innocent game and talk down on me. In conclusion, many think it's an innocent game and talk down on me if they will, but know this. I use the Bible and history to prove everything I'm saying. I pray in their rebuttal they will bring facts and not just an emotional opinion on how and why they feel Christmas is centered around Christ. When they speak down on a messenger of the Most High because they become offended about behaviors that they do which don't line up with the Bible they claim to read, know this, in all actuality they are speaking against the word of the Most High. He gave me the wisdom and knowledge on this very subject. Keep Psalms 105 verse 15 King James Version and Numbers 12 in mind. This behavior is not innocent and it's for my kids is a straight up cop out. People should not blame their kids for what they, as the parent, the leader, and the provider, are choosing to lead their family into. It's all on the parents. The Most High is not holding their children accountable. He is holding the parent accountable, and the blood is off my hands. I have heard all kinds of excuses. I don't want to make my kids sad, take the fun out, or I don't want them to feel left out. But what about when they want fast food every day? Parents don't buy it for them every day. Well, you never know, because I know some of these new parents can't boil water. But why not? Yeah. So why don't you buy your kids fast food every day? I mean, you're the parent. Where is that spirit of, I don't want to make my kids sad, take the fun out, or I don't want them to feel left out? So please don't blame the kids for the decision the parent makes. In my opinion, I think it is sad they would teach their child to be liars by lying to them constantly, but maybe the Most High will reach that child in the future. Many are lost, but all things are possible with the Most High. Parents will whip their kids for lying when they have lied to the child about senseless things. I am often asked, if I had kids, would I let them celebrate Christmas? My answer is, of course, I would not. I would not want to set my children up for eternal jeopardy. Don't think that I don't understand that we are all at different levels. Some might not have the knowledge I have, and I may not have the knowledge that my elder has, but we are to strive to do better. We must keep the commandments of the Most High, and these pagan holidays are not a part of the commandments. A lot of people think the Most High will be lenient about people celebrating a lie that was placed on his son. They are sadly confused. Christ will tell many to depart. I never knew you. That is because his people perish from lack of knowledge. How don't people know anything about holy days that will be kept in Christ's kingdom, but readily accept Christmas? What's small to us is very big to God. Majority of things we think are important are not so important to our Father. What's important to our Father, such as his Sabbath, which is Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, his feast days, and keeping his commandments, is not important to many who claim to be believers. Real talk, many older Christians know the Sabbath is the last day of the week, Saturday. I have even had family admit that they know the Sabbath is Saturday, but Sunday is tradition. And since people don't like to change, it's easier to do what's been done. Like the issue will go away. Many will have to explain themselves. My question is, if you know it's true and you continue to go the wrong way willfully and knowingly, how will you justify sin in judgment? I know the truth, therefore I am free. And I know Colossians 2, verse 16 and 17, King James Version, which is why I keep the Sabbath, which is a shadow of things to come in the new kingdom of Christ. If you want to know what we will do on these Sabbaths, read Isaiah 66, 22 through 24, King James Version. There will be no Thanksgiving, Halloween, Xmas, or Ishtar, Easter, in the new kingdom of Christ. The lip service is there, but by our actions we show how we truly feel. I don't hate the church, but the church has become a very worldly financial opportunity, not just for pastors either, because borrowing money and not paying back is truly theft. Luckily, we serve a forgiving Father, should a servant steal? But keep Acts 17, verses 30 through 32, King James Version, in mind. Where is Halloween or Xmas in the Bible? In fact, Deuteronomy 18, verses 10 through 14, King James Version, goes against the whole ideology of this satanic tradition. As for changing the name to Fall Harvest, which is a joke, but I will say this. In the Bible, gays and other people who, like to have anal sex are called are called sodomites. As time progressed, the name has been changed: homo, fag, queer, etc. But it's still the same sin. Even if heterosexual married people partake in oral/anal, they are sodomites. Spiritual fornication, adopting traditions of men that are abominable to the God they claim to serve. These holidays all have different gods attached to them. This is what the whole walking after other gods mean in the Bible. A good example would be Jeremiah 13, verses 8 through 27, King James Version. We still do today what our ancestors did in the past, which was celebrating holidays that are dedicated to other gods. Therefore, we went into slavery, and this is what the Bible says about paganism. Isaiah 1, verses 13 through 20, 1 Corinthians 1, verses 25 through 28, 1 John 2, 15 through 17, Ephesians 4, 17 through 32, Romans 12, verses 1 through 2, Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 4, Galatians 5, 19 through 21, King James Version. And the penalty is 1 Corinthians 6, 9 through 10, King James Version, Revelation 21 and 8, King James Version. I will say this: any man or woman that claims to be a pastor, wishing Christ a happy birthday on December 25th, shows their wickedness and their unwillingness to learn what they claim to be proficient in. That pastor is a liar, and the truth is not in them, but a whole bunch of fakery, phoniness, and foolishness is, hence the decline of struggling memberships. Where is December 25th in the scriptures? Doesn't the Bible say to study and show thyself approved and to prove all things? Well, Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 6, King James Version, condemns the Christmas tree, and idol worshippers will have no part in the kingdom of Christ. It is one thing to be in a congregation and be ignorant, but when you claim to know the Bible for years, but practice Satanism, something is not right. When you don't have a clear understanding of Christ or the Bible law, you defend deceit. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Isaiah 5, verse 20. When you are in leadership, especially a pastor, etc., you are held to a different standard. People seem to forget that it comes with being in the spotlight. These so-called mega leaders are not regular people working a 9 to 5, living check to check. The poor can't help the poor like the people who have the resources could. It is wrong to turn away the poor, especially if some have given to your ministry, but greedy defends greedy, which is why many pastors defend this Xmas crap. Read Mark 14, verses 7, King James Version. Some people need to reread their Bible so they can get a better understanding of what a pastor, deacon, bishop is. First Timothy 3, Titus 1, verses 6 through 9, 1 Peter 5, verses 1 through 2, King James Version. From the first day of the week, Sunday, to the last day, which is the Sabbath, I will share the word. This is a daily thing. Him and I don't have a part-time relationship. It's full-time. People forget Christ was no joke. He was not like how people make him out to be today. Barney, loving everyone and giving everyone hugs and kisses. I love him because he has a bold slash sarcastic tongue at times, and you need that dealing with people because not everyone has good intentions for you. A lot of times people will question him not to learn but to try to catch him up as if they could. The church forgets this side of Christ. He whipped people out of the church. John 2 verse 15, King James Version. If this happened today, all the saints would look at the pastor like he was crazy. Christ even called a lady a dog, and she obviously knew he was calling her a dog. Look at what he said in response. Look at what she said in response to him in Matthew 15 verses 26 through 27, King James Version. He fronted on a lady in John 4 verses 17 through 18, King James Version, saying in a subtle way she was a whore. Did she deny it? No. It's not the Bible or Christ who have become soft, it's the church. Back in my granddaddy day, I bet no drag queen would dare walk in the church. But today, back in the day, men would be so shamed someone would even leave the church if they were found in adultery. Today, we got pastors selling young girls into sex slavery. It's not Christ or the Bible, it's the people. People really be trying to make excuses for unrighteousness. Don't you know if you cover their sin, you are a part of their sin and will be judged with them. Psalms 1 verse 1, King James Version. 1 Corinthians 5 verse 9 and 11, King James Version. 2 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 17 through 18, King James Version. Revelation chapter 18 verse 4, King James Version. Proverbs 2 verse 22, 4 verse 14, 27 verse 12, King James Version. Mark 11 verses 23 through 28, King James Version. Reminds me of how some church folk is today. When they hear something different from what they learned, their pride comes out. They can't even fathom that they might be going the wrong way. They try to downplay the message because of the messenger. That's wrong, but they tried Christ, and I'm no better than him. I wonder why Christ didn't lay hands on them and say to the Pharisees in Mark 11, verses 23 through 28, King James Version, come to Jesus and learn salvation, because salvation is not for all. People ask silly questions like knowing who is Israel. Is that salvation? My response, laugh out loud, is coming to a building once a week salvation? Is teaching people to break God's law, saying the law is done away with. Is that salvation? Is upholding a corrupt, evil government, saying things like pray for our leaders who go against God, signing laws into place that God considers abomination. Is that salvation? Many don't research but are quick to watch that ball game, Love and Hip Hop, 48 Hours, Maury, Springer, etc. How are you celebrating Satan's holiday but you love the Lord? And then you bring this mess into the church and later wonder why church membership is declining. Even TD said people are leaving the church. God does not want his people practicing paganism. Celebrating these holidays is what the Bible calls Following other gods seems neither hot nor cold. Revelation 3:15 through 17, King James Version. But what we think is innocent is not innocent in the eyes of the Lord. It's for the kids is a lie. No, it's for you. Don't commit another sin by lying on an innocent child because you don't want to admit your sin. Is your child more important than Christ? Matthew 10, verse 37, King James Version. Do you think Christ is okay with you sacrificing your child into demonic Satanism? Shabbat Shalom, Kwam Yasha Allah Barakatah. The difference between the church and the Bible. Somebody lying, and I know it's not the word. And I've went over this a few times, so I'm going to scroll past this because I've written over this. I've went over this. So, and now if you want to go over this, you can. But these pictures, it's giving you the history. In Roman times, people decorated their homes with greenery, but the usual order of the year was suspended and grudges and quarrels forgotten. Wars were interrupted or temporarily set aside, and merriment of all kinds prevailed. The Roman midwinter festival of misrule, when social order was temporarily subverted and masters and slaves exchanged places. The same practice continued throughout the Middle Ages during other festivals such as the Festival of Fools. Saturn and Mithras. The 25th December was used to honor Saturn, god of harvest, and Mithras, god of light. Pagans prepared special food, decorated their homes with greenery, and joined in singing and gift giving. And then afterwards, they would have an orgy in the woods. Once Christianity became the religion of the Romans, the celebrations and pagan customs became part of the Christian way. Hypocrisy of Christianity, Mark 7, verses 6 through 9, King James Version. He answered and said unto them, Well, hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, The people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Christmas is a commandment of men. It's a doctrine of men. So is Thanksgiving. For laying aside the commandment of God, meaning the feast and the holy days, and what the Most High established, the Sabbath day. The Most High established that. But followers who claim to follow Christ or Jesus and, the Most High, they've forgotten about that and went up and picked up these worldly holidays. This is what this is saying. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men. What are the traditions of men? Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day. See, people like to play dumb. They like when you bring these scriptures out, to turn the mirror on them, that's when they like to play dumb. Oh, that's not what that means. And, no, that is what this means. As the washing of pots and cups and many other such like things ye do. And he said unto them, Full well, ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own tradition. Yeah, this is why I don't follow the moon, because it kind of go against what I've said about, it being 364 days. in a year, 52 Sabbaths, and so even in spirituality, my people in spirituality, you got to be careful with using the moon because the creator, the one who created it, and which is why he said, be not dismayed at the signs in heavens. Don't worship the heavens. Don't worship the things in the heavens. Because, for instance, the moon is always early. The moon is always it's early, which is, it causes, if you follow the moon, you'll be off from the Most High's calendar by at least 10 days. And 10 days start to add up after a while. So pagan, in fact, that Christmas was outlawed in America when the Puritans first came over here because they knew how pagan it was. Wow. This is Charity Croft. And so this is who I got this information with. I love this video that he did. And I always share it. It didn't become okay till the 1680s when they realized gift giving could be profitable. But in the 1800s, companies found that it was far more profitable to make it about little kids. And so companies like Macy's started using Santa's name to make Christmas into a corporate capitalist fiasco. In America alone, we spend more than $465 billion on Christmas presents every year. Here's the fact. World News with Diane Sawyer is gearing up for a Made in America Christmas, and we need your help. The average American will spend $700 on holiday gifts and goodies this year, totaling more than $465 billion, the National Retail Federation estimates. Glad I won't be partaking in that. According to Charity, water, you can buy a well for $5,000 provide water for 250 for 20 years. According to Charity, water, you can buy a well for $5,000 that will provide water for 250 for 20 years. And according to Feed the Children, you can buy a meal for 300 people for $120. So if you do the math, $120 times 3 meals a day times 365 days a year, then add in the cost of the water well, you could provide 300 starving people with food and water for a whole year with only $136,400. So if we take that $465 billion we spend, look how many people we could feed. There are only 795 million starving people on Earth. So that means for the money that America alone spends on one Christmas, we can literally end world hunger for a year. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy viols. true. Santa's elves. Santa's helpers weren't always nice, cute little guys. In the original folklore, Santa was accompanied by the Krampus, a goat-like creature who was bound in chains. His assignment was to kidnap and torment all the boys and girls who were on St. Nicholas' naughty list. Historians believe that Krampus derived from a pagan supernatural who was assimilated into Christianity. They also speculate that his chains may be the remnant of pagan initiation rites. Interestingly, the Krampus bears a striking resemblance to Pan, god of sexual depravity and perversion. We are Interestingly, the Krampus bears a striking resemblance to Pan, god of sexual depravity and perversion. We are to test the spirits. Is the spirit of Christmas truly of God's spirit or something else entirely? I'm going to say something else entirely. I don't know. I don't know why does the church go through such great lengths to celebrate every holiday under the sun except the ones in the Bible. That alone right there should tell you, but see, I originally shared this in December of 2017. So that's how long I've been talking about this. That's why I say I love Facebook, because these have now turned into my receipts. You know, I'm not new with this. I've been talking about this stuff. Hey, Cesare Borgia. He was the sixth pope of Rome's son. The pope's name was Rodrigo Borgia. You can look it up. I've already talked about it, though. But look, December 25th, 2017. Sorry you missed it. It's not today. It's actually the last week in September, Feast of Tabernacles. Just like the new year, according to the Bible, starts in March, not January. A day to God is sunset to sunset of the next day. Think about it. Use your head. That's that long, 3 to 4 feet above your head. September equals 7. October equals 8. November equals 9. December equals 10. January equals 11. February equals 12, which is why it's the shortest month. The true meaning of Christmas is simple. It's a big lie. It's simply this. I'm sorry. It's a big lie. Stop being so hypocritically surprised about Christmas becoming more and more pagan. It was always as pagan as Santa and his 7 demons. Once you sincerely read the scriptures for yourself, or have the guts to admit that you knew in your conscience the traditions you were been fed had nothing to do about the biblical Jesus, then and only then can you accept that Jesus was born on the Feast of Tabernacles, late September to early October. But I told you, God, the Most High's days are fixed. So it's always that last week in September. Forget about your pastor and your holiday plans, and let's take a look in the Word of God. The Word became flesh and tabernacled among us. John 1, verse 14. Jesus was born during the Feast of Tabernacles. The Hebrew word stable is called Sukkah. Genesis 33, verse 17. In John 1 and 14, the word dwelled is literally tabernacled in the Greek. And this comes as the climax to John's version of the story of Christ's incarnation. Feast of Tabernacles is a week-long fall festival commemorating the 40-year journey of the Israelites in the wilderness. See, all of these feast days have meaning, and so is you sitting up in these pews in these church talking about that's done away with. Do you think the Most High forgot about how he made Israel wander in the wilderness for 40 years? Do you think he forgot about it? No. All these feast days have a meaning behind them. They have a meaning. That's why we was to remember them. That's why we was to celebrate them. That's why we don't know now, because we have forgotten. We have gotten away from celebrating these feasts and holy days. And during this, during this time, like the Feast of Tabernacles, you can have food. We can have turkey. We can have dressing, cornbread dressing, not stovetop stuffing. You can have your collard greens and your macaroni and cheese and your yams. You can do all of that during this time. I mean, during the feast. Just can't have no pork. Can't have no ham. Can't have no pork in the greens or anything like that. But everything else is good. Fried chicken, baked chicken, roast, beef roast. I mean, you don't know this though, because you've been programmed. Forget about that. We not under that no more. But see, that was all by design. These seminary theologian people who were hired by the Roman Catholic Church, that's who did that. That's why you is sitting in church on Sunday. That's why you don't know this stuff. Then you turn around and get mad at me. Because I'm coming and telling you. That shows even more that you are delusional and that you don't know anything. But it's here. This can be found out if you really want to. That's how I know. People not serious. People, it's all for show. Feast of Tabernacles is a week-long fall festival commemorating the 40-year journey of the Israelites in the wilderness. The word Sukkot means booths. The birth of Christ was on the Feast of Tabernacles. To the Israelites, the Feast of Tabernacles depicted their 40 years of wandering in the wilderness before entering the Promised Land. Peter and Paul refer to our physical bodies as tabernacles, or temporary dwellings. 2 Corinthians 5, verse 1 through 4, 2 Peter 2, verses 13 through 14. Our blessed Savior was born at the time of this holiday, Feast of Tabernacles, when he left his mansions of light above to tabernacle among us, John 1, verse 14, and he dwelt in booths. And the worship of God under the New Testament is prophesied under the notion of keeping the Feast of Tabernacles, Zechariah 14, verse 16. The gospel of Christ teaches us to dwell in tabernacles, to sit loose to this world as those that have here no continuing city, but by faith and hope and holy contempt of present things, to go out to Christ without the camp. Hebrews 13, verses 13 and 14. When was Jesus born? We know it was not during the winter months because the sheep were in the pasture. Luke chapter 2, verse 8. A study of the time of the conception of John the Baptist reveals he was conceived about Sivan 30, the 11th week. When Zechariah was ministering in the temple, he received an announcement from God of a coming son. The 8th course of Abiyah, when Zechariah was ministering, was the week of Sivan, 12 to 18. Adding 40 weeks for a normal pregnancy reveals that John the Baptist was born on Passover, Nisan 14. We know 6 months after John's conception, Mary conceived Yeshua, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Luke 1, verse 26 through 33. Therefore, Yeshua would have been conceived 6 months later in the month of Kislev. Kislev 25 is Hanukkah. The light of the world was conceived on the festival of lights, starting at Hanukkah, which begins on Kislev 25 and continues for 8 days, and counting through the 9 months of Miriam's pregnancy. See, they changed their names. Mary's name was Miriam, you know, that sounds more ethnic. One arrives at the time of the birth of Yeshua at the festival of tabernacles, the early fall of the year. During the feast of tabernacles, the Most High required all male Israelites to come to Jerusalem. The many pilgrims coming to Jerusalem for the festivals would spill over to the surrounding towns. Bethlehem is about 5 miles from Jerusalem. Joseph and Miriam were unable to find a room at the inn because of the influx of so many pilgrims. And this is another way that you know they were still keeping a feast. They may have been given shelter in a sukkah, which is built during a 7-day period each year, accompanying the celebration of the Feast of Tabernacles. Due to the difficulties during travel, it was common for the officials to declare tax time during a temple feast. Luke 2, verse 1. We know our Messiah was made manifest into a temporary body when he came to earth. He also was put into a temporary dwelling. The fields would have been dotted with succoths during this harvest time to temporary shelter animals. The Hebrew word stable is called a sukkoth. Genesis 33, verse 17. And she brought forth her firstborn son and wrapped him in a swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger or sukkoth because there was no room for them in the inn. Luke chapter 2, verse 7. Joseph and Miriam took the child and flew to Egypt and remained there until they were told by the Most High that Herod was dead. Joseph and Miriam brought the baby Yeshua into Jerusalem 40 days from his birth for Miriam's purification and the child's dedication. According to Torah, this had to be done within 40 days of the birth of a male child. Not doing so is considered a sin. This indicates that Herod died within the same 40 days because as long as Herod was alive, they could not appear at the temple. According to Josephus' calculations, Herod's death occurred during the autumn in the 4th year before the Common Era, 4 BCE. See, I used Herod's decree, looked at other stuff, look at other records keeper like Josephus, you know, and I started out with Herod's decree, and then it was something in there from what I could remember. It was something in there about it was something dealing with the moon. And I even looked up the phases of the moon. And I went to Google and I Googled all of this stuff. Like, looked up the phases of the moon. I forgot what I said exactly. See, I used Herod's decree, looked at other stuff, look at other records keeper like Josephus, you know, and I started out with Herod's decree, and then It was something in there from what I could remember. It was something in there about, it was something dealing with the moon. And I even looked up the phases of the moon. Like, and I went to Google and I Googled all of this stuff. Like, looked up the phases of the moon. I forgot what I said exactly, but it pulled up everything lined up. Everything lined up. Just like when I was trying to find out when Christ was crucified, the date, how I got Christ, the date of Christ's crucifixion. Because I know that he was crucified on a Saturday. And so once I found the birth of Christ, you know what I'm saying? I know that it's 33 years that he was alive, in the flesh, and I start adding, putting all of that together, and boom, this is why you was on in church on Sunday, rushing the service to get home and watch the game. That's the problem that I have with these people in these churches. You know what I'm saying? They'll sit up and down me and tell me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This can't be found out. That can't be found out. No, because you don't want to find it out. Because you're interested in rushing home so you can eat and watch the game. That's rigged anyway. That's the difference between me and you. You can't tell me because you not even doing the research. You don't care. You had the same opportunity as me. You could have found this stuff out just like I did. But no, like I said, you wanted to rush the church service. You have little to no knowledge about biblical history, about, the people. You don't care, but you can tell me everything about the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can tell me everything about the Dallas Cowboys. You can tell me everything about LeBron James. You can tell me everything about, the Lakers. You can tell me everything about that, though. But then when I'm telling you about this, you don't know what he's talking about. No, it's because they're mad because somebody actually went out and did the research. And they have this whole, well, who do you think you are? The person that went out and did the research while your fat was rushing the service so you can get to Golden Corral and get your arteries clogged even more and then get home and watch the game. I'm not lying. That's what goes on. Later in his life, Yeshua celebrated his birthday on a mountain with 3 of his disciples, in contrast to birthday parties such as Herod's, where people were killed for entertainment. His was a celebration of life. See, I do believe in that. Nah, for my birthday, I don't have to go out here and go to a bathhouse. I don't have to go, but I can go out to a nice, a nice little space and, enjoy me and celebrate, one more year around the sun. I can have a nice little drink, not getting drunk or anything like that. Or I could take a vacation. I can, I can do that. It's not always about, having a birthday party and bunch of fake people around you anyway, and everybody's striving to try to, well, I did this for you, and trying to be, bigger than the other person. Well, I got this better gift for you and stuff like that. I ain't with all of that. One disciple, Kepha, was Peter, suggested building 3 Succoth for Yeshua, Moshe, and Eliyahu, because it was required for the festival, but he did not understand that these 3 were fulfilling that which the festival symbolized. They were dwelling in their Succoth, temporary tabernacles of flesh, awaiting their eternal resurrection temples. Conclusion. John Yakanah was born at Passover. He was 6 months older than Jesus, Yeshua, Yeshua was born during the Feast of Tabernacles. Rest in peace to my cuz Victor Savage. He committed suicide. Now, prior to the 19th century, Christmas was banned in this country, and you could even be fined for celebrating it. Hypocrites. Like I said, Christians are hypocrites. I'm just freelancing this because I did not talk about Santa Claus because, I mean, come on, man. A fat white man coming down somebody's chimney. Coming down somebody's chimney. Come on, man. Really. Really. And the origins of Santa Claus is from Saint Nicholas. And even though Saint Nicholas, well, okay, some accounts say that he does not even exist. Like some accounts saying that there was not a Saint Nicholas, some accounts say that there was. I don't really care. I don't really care about Satan's claws. Because when you switch that N around, when you move the N to the end of the word, you get Satan. Satan's claws. So that is why I don't really care to talk about Santa Claus. Because I told y'all, like, there was no Santa Claus, coming up. I mean, I'm sorry, there's no fat white man coming down nobody's chimney in the hood. Sorry, not happening. But y'all know how I feel about Catholics. This is gonna be my 140 something video. By now, you should know how I feel about Catholics. St. Nicholas was a Catholic. He's a part of the Mother Harlot. So, I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Other than that, he's not in heaven. I can tell you that. If he was real, he's not in heaven. He's a part of the Mother Harlot. So, yeah, but I did hear about him being from Myra or Turkey, St. Nicholas, and it said that he was a big giver. He gave to the poor. That's how Santa Claus became, about. But see, it's quite interesting. Oh, it's quite interesting. Because the people from Turkey was dark skinned. They weren't dark skinned, but they had color. Oh, they had color. They weren't white. See, like the words on the screen, the background to the word, these black words, that's white. The people from Turkey had color to them. So how did you go from a brown St. Nicholas, because I've seen pictures of St. Nicholas, and he do look a little brown. He looked just like them people over there, brown. I ain't saying he was black. I ain't saying he was Negro. I'm saying he was brown. So how we get to the white man? How we get to this? How we get to this? How did we get to this? And do this nigga got a piece of chicken in his hand? Girl. Child, please. Okay. So, who started Santa Claus? Some people don't, and I'm only saying this because some people believed. I mean, I'm only showing y'all this stuff because some people believe Santa Claus to be originally invented by Coca-Cola or Macy's, and that's not true. See, Coca-Cola did not create the legend of Santa Claus, but Coca-Cola, with their advertising. Okay, so if y'all all know, around this time, because today is December 4th, y'all all know we about to start seeing them old advertisements from Coke of Santa Claus. I mean, they be on the cans and everything. Do you know how old them advertisements are? Or that concept of that advertisement is? It's old. So he already invented, but they gave him like between Coke and Macy's. They Americanized him, and that's how he got into what you see right here. No, he's not mentioned in the Bible. Of course he's not. Look, of course he's not. A Greek Orthodox bishop. Okay. So this is from Britannica. The current depiction of Santa Claus is based on images drawn by cartoonist Thomas Nast for Harper's Weekly beginning in 1863. Nast sent an ode much to the description given in the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, also known as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Then they talk about this Kris Kringle dude. Then or Santa Claus. I've heard about that too. This is the origins for that. See? Santa Claus may owe his earliest influence to Odin. I know a little bit about Odin. And Santa Claus looks like Odin. That's how Odin look with that white beard. Except for he ain't all fat. Let me see. See, Macy's did not invent Santa Claus, but they were one of the first department stores to feature Santa in the 1860s, and I've heard that before. So I knew that Macy's didn't invent Santa Claus. I knew that Coke didn't invent Santa Claus. What I'm saying is they together made Santa Claus way more popular than what he was. While retail giant Macy's also claimed to be the home of the first department store Santa, the distinction appears to lie in the manner of dress. See, because he was always portrayed differently. See, that's all you got to do. That's how you do research. You got a computer in your hand, literally. See, this is Coca-Cola. This is what they gotta say. So yeah, no, I didn't. Then if you want to go into the dark, Krampus. Mm. Yeah, they did, and I remember watching a documentary. Macy's will have a version of Santa in every color and like every ethnicity, every race, and they would switch them out, put them on different floors and stuff like that. And people used to know, what floor the black Santa was gonna be on. So look, so this is Krampus. This is, so I guess he was one of Santa's creatures or something like that. Look, I just wanted to focus on this. I don't care. I don't care if he was black or not. But Nicholas lived around the 4th century in what is now present-day Turkey. This means that Saint Nicholas was in fact not white.